I am Tim McCarthy with 20 Tim Minutes.
And I'm Haley with Podcast27.
Hell yeah. Good intro. Yeah. A couple ahs. I like it.
Sorry. Oh my God, I'm nervous.
I love our collaboration because it took us a while to set it up because we're both terrible with time.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that we did this because this is like my second interview that I've done.
Hell yeah.
And you've done a couple. This is your first video one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. I did one with like the Everything Show, and then I have a few other ones lined up, and so super cool.
I love these collaborations because it's like when TV shows like have like crossover episodes.
Yes, like Hannah Montana, The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
I guess. I don't know. I didn't watch that. I
forgot you're like, sorry.
Yeah, I'm like 35. I'm old. How old are you again?
I turned 28 this year.
All right. So did you watch Step by Step and Family Matters?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Yeah. So fun fact, the first episode of Step by Step was a crossover from Family Matters on TGIF. So Urkel had a jetpack, flew through the roof, and then he landed in Wisconsin with the Lamberts, and that's how they started it. And then Urkel did the Urkel dance, and then that's when and all bets were off.
I guess I missed that episode. It would come on at like 5:30 in the morning, and I would watch it with like the George Lopez show. And
George Lopez show. What a name drop. Yeah. See, I watched CGI Friday on Friday, like live. I was about that life.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I was a 90s kid. All right. So before we stray off, so Haley with Podcast27, explain your podcast a little bit to the 20 Tim Minute fans, and then I'll do the same for the Podcast27 fans.
Cool. So my podcast basically came up. I kind of got the idea. I was in speech and debate in high school, and I did impromptu speaking. So I was like, I had to come up with a 10-minute speech based off of like, I pick a topic, have 2 minutes to make a speech or whatever. And I was like, that would be so cool for a podcast. Like just take everyone's ideas and pull it out of a hat and then start the podcast. And I've been doing that. I kind of go over like mental health. I talk about like random shit. Like, am I allowed to?
Yeah, you've heard my episodes, I hope. I'm always swearing.
Yes. I didn't know if this was like a clean special.
No. The gloves are off. Yeah. This is going to be rated R.
Yeah. So I talk about like paranormal shit, like hair stuff. I did like top 5 favorite fast food fries. More so like I try to connect mental health with everything because that's more so what I like deal with. But I'll talk about anything. I'll talk about anything and everything. I'll listen to whatever anyone has to say. I'll interview anyone. So the whole podcast is just random. So
yeah. You freestyle a lot. And I think I helped you with one episode because you were like, I don't know what to talk about. I'm like, talk about what's going on in your mental health. It doesn't have to be bad. Yeah.
And I did a little update on my mental health situation at the time. I kind of took the past 2 weeks since I did the podcast with the Everything Show. I've just kind of been, I don't know, like MIA, like on Twitter and on the podcast. Like I haven't really been motivated or had a topic to talk about. I've just been kind of like down in my feels. So this is the first, this is the next podcast that I've been
the glow up
waiting for. The glow up, and here we are.
Side arm emoji. I know. I noticed when you were not pretty active on Twitter. I kind of noticed those things because I'm on my phone way too much. I try to be better when I'm with my wife and everything, but still, like you see a phone blow up, and I'm like, dude, I'm blowing up. Gonna get famous. This is it. And then it's like I'm tagged in like 20 different tweets on Twitter, which is
my God,
which is funny. We'll talk about that later, but. Yeah. All right. Awesome. I don't even know how we linked up, but it's awesome. I feel like we just kind of ran into each other, but
you found me on Twitter, and that was when, because you messaged me or whatever, and I was like, okay, cool. Like my first podcast interaction, let me go listen to the podcast. And that was before I got to know you. And I started listening to your episodes, and they're short. I usually listen to podcasts that are like 2-3 hours long. And for my commute for work, I was like, okay, let me just like plug this in and start listening to it. And then I found myself like wishing there was like more time in your podcast. And so I remember Twitter was like the big thing. So yeah, thanks for like finding me. I'm glad that you found me and we found each other and stuff. So
I found a bunch of random people and I just followed different podcasts to be like, you know what, I'll see what they're about, try to take some tips and all that. But
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm Tim McCarthy for all the Podcast27 fans out there. Hopefully you heard about me.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I am 20 Tim minutes. My podcast is roughly 20 minutes and it obviously always goes over, but your episode that we have exactly 20 minutes. Couldn't believe it, on the button. It's like 20
I'm
minutes
so
and like
proud.
1 second. All right.
You did
So
it.
hopefully I did it. I made it. And like you, I focus on mental health kind of main. That's like my main steez subject. I talk a lot about my personal stories. I'm very candid and open. I've been described as like hanging out with a friend, which is like the nicest thing I've ever heard from multiple people. It's like, oh, I feel like I'm talking to a friend where I can't reply because I'm talking normal. But my buddy Jimmy just told me like a minute ago, he's like, I love your episodes because you explain it so easily. Like I was never good in high school. Like C's and D's get degrees. Like that's how I got by. I got by with my personality. So I dumb it down to my level. Like when people are too smart for me, I'm like, hey, explain like I'm 5. Like just explain it to me. So when I do it, I do so many analogies to make it easier for somebody else. And the reason I did 20 minutes is because I don't really listen to podcasts too much. I listen to a couple here and there, but on the way to work, I can't really pump myself up with the podcast too much. So I try to do some music. But so I realized I always put myself in other people's shoes. I'm like, if I feel like this, a lot of other people feel like this. And I think 20 minutes is a good segue to get people into podcasting.
Yeah.
Because it's easy and quick. But I've been having a lot of fun with it. When did you start yours?
Oh yeah, I started mine the end of December, kind of like that's when I set all my stuff up and did like my intro or whatever. But I guess I like officially started it the beginning of January because I was like, new year, new me, or whatever, and started doing things that way. I don't have like a specific day that I put my podcast out or whatever. So yeah, the beginning of this year was when I started. So
that's awesome. I was thinking about doing the podcast for like a year straight. And at the time, I actually didn't even know I was going to do mental health. I was just going to be like another bald, bearded white dude just talking about nothing. So I took like a full year and I was like so second guessing myself because I know you feel the same way, that you're so anxious about how others perceive it. You won't do a good job. And then I wanted to get it situated perfectly. I wanted like a theme song. I wanted logos. I wanted a setup. So I wasn't going into it like stupid and not doing it correctly.
Yeah.
And once I got everything situated, I think when I was feeling good, I was like, you know what, at 20 minutes, I can't really talk about a bunch of stuff at times. I'm like, if I just do my mental health, I was like, that would be kind of like different for people, I feel like.
Yeah.
So I feel like, oh, sorry about that. And I've been having fun with it. I started in November, kind of just threw it out there. And I wish I put out more episodes at first because I saw that because you listen to the first episode and some people might want more and they don't have it. Yeah. So people that ask, like, if they have a suggestion, they're like, oh, do you have any suggestions on starting a podcast? I'm like, release like 2 or 3 episodes.
Yeah.
People get excited.
But yeah, that's kind of like, I thought about so I started listening to podcasts. It's 2021. Back in 2019, I started with My Favorite Murder because I love true crime. And I was on like this road trip to see my husband because he travels all the time for work. So I was like, let me just like put this on and start a podcast. And I immediately got hooked. So I was listening to My Favorite Murder and I got so much anxiety from listening to the whole like killer situation that I got pulled over. I was speeding. And I got pulled over and got a ticket for speeding. And throughout throughout the past year, I was like, it'd be really cool if I started like a podcast. And a lot of people were like, you're so entertaining, like you should start like a YouTube channel or something and just talk about stuff. And I was like, no, like no one's gonna watch that. Right. And then my husband was like, I think you should start a podcast. Like you love podcasts, you should start making one of your own. I was like, I don't think anyone would listen to it. And so for Christmas, he was like, hey, you've got recording stuff coming in the mail. And I was like, what do you mean? And so it came in, we set it up. I started making a few episodes and people were listening. And I was like, oh, that's so fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's such a cool feeling.
Yeah. And I definitely want to do the whole like sticker thing and like your stickers on my car, on the side of my car. And like, I have one on my little water tumbler that I use at work. So everyone can like ask about the stickers and stuff. So I'm like, oh, I want to do that. Like I just kind of jumped in without thinking about those things. So
I'm like a low key marketing type of guy. Like I should have went to school for that. So my first like idea, and I told my wife about it. I was like, you know what? I should have someone different introduce my podcast every week, and not even like to obviously it helps out. So if I introduce somebody, they're gonna share. So it's kind of instant advertising, which is great. But then again, I went in being like, I want to make sure it has to do something with mental health, positivity, fitness, all that stuff, because I was thinking about it. I'm not big into true crime podcasts, and I'm like, I don't need like Neck Slitter's podcast like doing my intro, because it just wouldn't fit. Like true crime isn't for me.
Yeah.
My wife loves it. And she'll watch like documentaries, and she's like so into it. And I'm like, dude.
I feel like me and your wife would get along so well.
Oh, 100%.
And she's so cute. And her voice, oh my God, when she did that intro for you and you did like the outtakes, I was like, this girl's so fucking cute. I feel like I could be friends with her.
Yeah, she's super lovable. Everyone that meets her absolutely loves her. We're a very good tandem. When like we're out, people love our dynamic, because I'm always like quote unquote yelling at her in front of, like, she always says some slick shit back to me. I'm like, hey, can I talk to you outside real quick? And people like hesitant. They're like, you guys serious? I'm like, God, no. I was like, she'll beat the shit out of me. Like she's awesome. But that outtake, I knew right away. I was like, this is absolute gold. We were in this closet. It doesn't look big. Like I barely fit in it. So both of our asses were like inside, and I was like losing it. And she got giggly for no reason. But I feel like this is a good segue to our significant others with our mental health. So I think we should start off with our mental health and how it affects us. So I think we'll start with you. When did you realize you had possibly a mental health disorder? And if you want to elaborate, like what are you diagnosed with, if you feel comfortable with that?
Yeah. So I think middle school was when I realized that I had something going on. I was in 8th grade, so I was probably like 13 at the time. 8th grade is when I started self-harming, and there was a lot of stuff going at home. It pretty much comes from my relationship with my dad. I was depressed all through high school. After high school, I was like severely depressed, suicidal. Anxiety didn't start for me until the past like couple years. And then I finally went to my doctor, and she diagnosed me with anxiety, depression, and an eating disorder, binge eating disorder and bulimia. And then recently I got diagnosed with bipolar disorder. And
welcome to the gang. Welcome to the gang.
And I didn't actually, I don't know. My doctor was really upfront with me. She was like, the things that you're going through, it sounds like you're bipolar. And she was like, I'm going to suggest a psychiatrist to you. And I cut off my psychiatrist recently because I don't think she really meshed with me well. So I'm going to find another one. But after looking up all the like symptoms or like diagnosis and stuff, like it makes sense. So yeah, I think, I don't want to get off track. I feel like my mind is all like, what's going on? Depression is the
same way.
Yeah, my mind is just like, what? Some people have asked if I'm like OCD, which I don't think that I am, but then other times I think that I might be. But for the most part, anxiety runs my life. Depression comes in waves. It started off as seasonal depression, and then over time it became just depression.
We're the same person, I feel like.
Yeah. And I think like I tell my husband this too, like suicidal thoughts are different than being suicidal, because I do have intrusive suicidal thoughts sometimes, but I would never act on them. It's just more of I don't want to exist, but I don't want to just end things. It'd just be easier if I wasn't here and didn't have to deal with everything. But yeah, so I guess it started when I was about 13. I'm 27 now. So it's been a long time. I guess that's 13 years. Yeah.
That is a very long time.
Right. Yeah.
So hold on. I'm just
Tim,
kidding.
don't get sassy.
I feel like when people first meet me, they think I'm serious because I have a very sarcastic tone to serious things I say. So people
Me
are like,
too.
I don't know if he's being serious or not.
We are
So
the same person.
we really are. On
Yeah.
our episode, I explained that me and you are like siblings. I'm like, oh, she's my bipolar sibling. So a couple questions. Do you know if you're bipolar 1 or 2? Because I didn't know there
I
was a
don't know.
difference at first. Yeah, so
I
I
didn't
didn't
know there
really
was
know.
a difference.
Yeah, so I think me and you have bipolar 2. I think bipolar 1 is like you have manic episodes for like weeks.
Yeah.
Which I read. I think ours come in spurts. But as a 13-year-old, did you know like what mental health was, or you just like how did you know that you were different?
So I did. So my mental health like idol is Demi Lovato. I know a lot of people give her a lot of shit for the things that she's gone through, but when I was in 8th grade, I was like watching Camp Rock and like listening to the Jonas Brothers, and that was when she came out. And then it wasn't too far after that that pictures of her came out that she had been cutting herself.
Yep.
And so that immediately was something that I could relate to. And it wasn't with the whole eating disorder thing with her, it wasn't until later on that I could relate to that. But I knew because I was like on the internet a lot, I had a good education of like what things were because I researched on things like myself a lot. I knew what was going on with me, but my family more so was like, it's just life. Like, just let go of it. It's not like it's going to get better, whatever. So when I was that young, I knew that things were not good. I went to my counselor and talked to her about things, went to teachers and stuff. And like my family didn't take it seriously until I left the house when I was like 18. So I knew from a young age that like things were different. And then through high school, I could relate to other friends. I had a friend that started self-harming because I was self-harming, and that made me feel really guilty. So it made things worse for me because I didn't want to be like this like self-harm, like idol or whatever, because I feel like a lot of times in entertainment, they glamorize that kind of thing and it's not fun. It shouldn't be like that. But I knew from a young age that like something definitely was wrong. So
that's super interesting to learn that at such an early age. Funny enough that you bring up Demi Lovato, and we've talked about this a couple times, is my career in jujitsu. She is a jujitsu practitioner.
She is, and her newest, one of her latest videos, I Love Me, she shows off her like talents and stuff in that. And it's crazy because she has really put all of her energy into herself as far as like her fitness and her health and stuff, and seeing how strong that she's gotten over time is like fucking insane. Like she's built as fuck. And I'm like, I want to do that. Like everything that she does, I'm like, I want to follow in her footsteps as far as like her growth and everything. Like, because I feel like we've had similar journeys, maybe not with like the same drugs or whatever, but just like the whole mental health thing. I'm like, I want to be as strong as she is and get to where she is. So
it is cool to compare yourself, or not compare, but to see like somebody famous kind of go through the same shit. Cause you're like, oh, at first you're like, oh, money and fame is great. Everyone is so happy. Then you're like, nope, people are fucking depressed out there.
They're still struggling.
Yeah, so. Straight up. And with jujitsu, she's like a blue belt now. So it goes white, blue, purple, brown, black. So she's been putting in the work. That's not like easy. And a lot of like the jujitsu, like, practice, like the people that practice it, they kind of shit on the celebrities that do it. Do you know Al Bundy from Married with Children?
Yeah,
he's been training for years. He's a legit black belt in jiu-jitsu.
Oh shit!
Ashton Kutcher does it. Keanu Reeves does it. So there's like,
of course, Keanu Reeves does it.
Paul Walker did it. He I don't think he had his black belt at the time, but he got buried with his black belt, which was super sad. Exactly. What a stud. She's all that.
Yeah,
what a great flick.
Love that for him. Rest in peace.
Exactly. So I feel like you kind of told my story too with your bipolar. It was like the same thing. I didn't realize I had it until later in life. I think when I went to college, it definitely like grew, because in middle school, I always like making people laugh. I never really liked school. I like the social interactions of it, and I always loved people and friends and putting all my energy into that. So middle school, I had fun. I used to get frustrated with not learning. I wouldn't say I had a learning disability, but it took me a little bit to get to that level because when I was a child, I had seizures. They don't know
Yeah.
what caused them. So my speech was kind of late uh, from like other kids that age. I think I was like super young. And the
Yeah.
first word I learned was Nintendo because I used to just play video games. Like that's what helped like my confidence. So like I have an article that I had from like video games when I was like 7 years old. I entered a video game competition for Nintendo and I mopped the floor with like against 30 people ranging from my age to like 40-year-olds. Like
That's
I
amazing.
kicked the shit out of everybody. I won the title of Nintendo Friendo, and I like that's where my
Hell yeah.
confidence started growing as a child.
Yeah.
Then in high school, I realized I had like kind of anger issues. I would get like very frustrated when I didn't get things, and I would just like get so mad. And I remember one time I couldn't do something correctly, and my mom was trying to help me, and I was just like, "Fuck this!" And like I threw my book away, and I was like, just didn't care. And I was still in
Yeah.
that zone of just making sure I was like with friends, like chasing girls, just being a bro, just
It'd
straight
be
up.
like that.
I was such a dude. I would go back in time and kick the shit out of myself if I could.
Oh, me
So then,
too.
then when I got to college, I was in a different state. I went down to North Carolina from Massachusetts. Made a lot of good friends that I'm friends with now. I dropped out a year and a half in, but I'm still like really good friends with a bunch of kids I met from down there, and it's
Yeah.
so cool. But I remember getting on Prozac from like
Mm.
the guidance people, and I hated it. I
I
absolutely
was on
hated.
Prozac too.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
just a weird thing. So then I ended up leaving because I was just so stressed out and I couldn't take it anymore and just that type of shit. So I'm probably like early 20s, obviously, when I got out of high school, I got out of college. And then I think around like 2015, I really started just getting sad. I realized I would always tell people, like, I don't care what people think about me, but deep down, I'm like, I just want everyone to like me. And I don't know why
Yeah.
this person doesn't like me. And I would get super sad. And then I think with just everything going on, it was like I didn't like getting older. Like I'm like, holy shit, I'm 30. Now I'm like, holy shit, I'm 35. I'm like, where is the time going?
And
I'm
now
like,
you're 85.
I know I'm getting so old. And I'm already short as it is. So like when I'm wicked old, I'm gonna go from like 5'7" to 5'2" with like a hunch and just never
You
die.
don't look your age though.
I definitely don't. People say that all the time. I think with like the beard, I have like lightning bolt grays on the side, which is like super
There,
weird.
when I'm in the beauty industry, we call them wisdom lights instead of like,
Wisdom lights.
grays.
I like that.
It just means you have a lot of wisdom up there.
Have you dealt with this though? My hair grows downwards on this side, but on this side it grows sideways.
Yes. So one of my clients, actually, I have to shave a certain way when I do his beard lineup because one of them like flips out an opposite way and the other one just goes down. So that's pretty fun to work with.
I kind of taught myself how to shave because I also had daddy issues growing up.
We love
Holler,
daddy
yeah, daddy
issues.
issues.
Holla for daddy issues.
Yeah, so I have 3 siblings. I have an older sister who's 45 and I'm 35. I have an older brother who's 41 and then a younger brother who's 25.
Okay, so we both have a 10-year age gap, and my sister is 16. She's about to be 17. So I'm the oldest, but you're the youngest.
No, I'm like second youngest. I have a little
Oh,
brother
yeah,
who's
yeah.
25. So the youngest is 25, the oldest is 45.
That's
so
crazy.
bunch of different decades.
Yeah.
So my
How
mom
old are
had
your parents?
my mom is, I don't know. I never like knew my mom's age because like I always learned like don't ask a woman her age. So like in
Okay.
my mind, my mom's still 40 years old, but I think she's
Right.
low 60s at this point.
Oh, she's still young. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel so bad.
Yeah.
And then I like at a
It's
young age, I always thought my mom's birthday was on Thanksgiving. And I didn't know Thanksgiving was like an every Thursday at the end. So like I would always wait till Thanksgiving for her birthday. And I was like, wait, Thanksgiving is like,
Oh my God.
I know I'm so bad with birthdays and dates. Like history was my least favorite subject. I'm like, why do I have to learn about Hammurabi's code? I'm like, who gives a shit? I'm like, eye for an eye. I hated it. So I'm trying to think, where was it? So I started getting more and more sad, getting older and getting frustrated, not knowing like what I want to do with my life, where I was going to live. And then I met Lindsay and that was really good. We met 12 years ago. And then she saw me like progressively not get worse, but we had a lot of fun. But like the past like 3 to 5 years, I would say, is when I started realizing I was getting bad. But I didn't really start getting help till like 2018. where I grew the beard out. I just didn't care. I was just like letting myself go. I'd be in bed for days over nothing. And then I just felt like I was a baby. Um,
Yeah.
and I like again in high school, I felt like I was different in a way, but I never vocalized it to people. I just thought like hormones in high school, like everyone deals with
Right.
this. I don't
Yeah.
compare anything to anybody else. So fast forward to 2018, it was just really bad. And I went through a bunch of different therapists. So I went to my primary, who's like this old doctor who like talked to me like I was as smart, and I would like go like cross-eyed listening to him. So he put me on a bunch of different meds. I think one of them, I forget what it was, Celexa. I think that was it. And it would make me super positive, but I'd be on the couch. Like I didn't want to do anything. My body was depressed, but my mind was like, everything's great. This couch is so comfortable, but I don't know what I'm going to do with my life.
Yeah.
So I got off that, and he was just kind of like loosely prescribing me meds, and I just didn't enjoy it. So then I switched doctors because Lindsay switched doctors as well. And so what happened was I was super depressed, like almost to the point where I almost had to check myself into the ER. Like that's how
Yeah.
bad I got. Definitely had like ideas of suicide. Like I'm the same way. I'm like, you know what? Hopefully my car just breaks down and I just fly off the side of the road, or like a
Yeah.
piano drops on my head, like just ridiculous. Cause I'm like so morbid, but I joke about it. Cause again, I
Yeah.
have like such a sarcastic, serious thing. So people don't know when I'm serious on it. And sometimes I am serious, but
Yeah.
people don't know. They think I'm joking. Cause I always like making people laugh. I'm like, I love being the center of attention.
Yeah.
So I went in there and, let me back up a little bit. So I tried getting therapy before that with the old doctor. So I went to so many different people. I went to one lady who was like, it was like the pediatrics of therapy. Like I went in there, there's like
Mm.
a game of like Connect Four and Sorry, and I'm like talking to her. And then I went like 2 to 3 times, and I had to tell her the same stories over and over. And I was like, she's
Yeah.
not paying attention. Then the next lady I found was at like a farm. Like I went into a house, and it was like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre house. There was like baby heads
Great.
hanging. There was like books opening on their own. I was like freaked out, and it smelled like cat pee in there. So I was like, I got to get out of here.
Wrong.
So I gave up because I was getting so frustrated. And in 2018, 2019 is when I was at my wit's end, and I went to the nurse practitioner because I never really saw my doctor. And she was like, all right, I'm going to get you some help today. And it's unbelievable. And you can probably attest to this, is getting help for mental health is insane. It's a long
Yeah.
road. Like it's not an
Yeah.
instant thing. People tell us to talk about it, and you can't get help right away. For an hour, she called so many different places, and they're all like 6-month wait, 6-month wait.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know why I have that type of time. I'm like, I gotta
Yeah.
get
I'm like,
something.
I don't know if I'm going to last that
I
long.
know. And so I always get them confused. Psychologists and psychiatrists, what is the difference? One of them prescribes you meds, but I forget which
Mhm.
one's which.
The psychiatrist is the one that prescribes you meds, and the psychologist is like the therapist.
So they got me a psychologist, and it was this old guy, Ron. He rocked. He had
Ron
Velcro.
Weasley.
Ronald. Oh, dude, me and my wife just watched Harry Potter this past year for the
Yes.
first time. We
Oh.
made it. Oh yeah, we made it
I
until
have a Harry Potter tattoo.
What does it say?
Somewhere. It says Expecto Patronum, and it has to do with mental health. But I'll let you
Oh,
go on.
you're a nerd. Well, I have a Star Wars tattoo, so we're both nerds. So
we're both nerds.
yeah. Ronald Weasley. Like they would always like shit on that dude, and I loved it. But we made it to the last 2, but then they got taken off HBO, so we haven't finished it yet. We got to the final 2.
Oh my God, you have to finish it.
I know.
Did you read the books?
I can't read, dude. Again,
Okay.
C's and D's get degrees, man. I can
Right.
I can say the words, but I can't retain it.
Yeah.
Like it's so bad. Now
Yeah, you got to finish it.
I know. I have to. Now I love getting sidetracked. I don't have my whiteboard to keep me in, but where do we leave
sorry.
off? I know. I love it. I love it. So, oh no, Ronald Weasley. So he had Velcro sneakers. He was awesome. He was this old timer, and I was probably with him for like 6 months. And he's like, "Hey, I'm retiring and moving to California." I was like, "Ron, what the fuck?" And I had an old lady that prescribed me meds. So I had him, and then I had a lady that prescribed me meds, but she wasn't a psychiatrist. I think she was like, not a nurse practitioner, but I forget.
Like a general practitioner, maybe?
Yes. So she prescribed me meds, and she put me on Lamictal for a mood stabilizer, which I explained is like the beep beep machines when you're on life support. and like it'd be like high and low, so it caps me off so it doesn't get as high and low, which it definitely helps. And I got added to ADHD, extended release, because I have really bad ADHD.
Yeah.
So they left and I switched doctors, and then I went to another psychologist, and I think she's like younger than me, and she is a saint and I love her. And she's been with me for like a year plus, and I was diagnosed with manic depressive bipolar 2, anxiety, depression. And it's funny that you brought up the OCD thing, because I asked my therapist about that recently and I thought I had it, but she was like explaining what exactly it is, and it wasn't. So sometimes looking up online is like the worst thing you can do. And I was going to suggest that to you. That sometimes it's like going to WebMD and you're like, I got cancer.
I'm dying tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow's the day. I'm out of here. So she's been a huge help with me, and we talk all the time. She just said she had to cancel her appointment because she's going on vacation. I go, oh, thanks. Can you make sure you get me a t-shirt that says my therapist went on vacation and all I got was this lousy t-shirt? And she was like, I definitely will. And it's been going great. And in 2019, when I linked up with her around like 2018, I linked up with her in November, and she like just recently was like, Tim, she's like, I'm so proud of you. Like, do you ever sit there and just realize how far you've come? And I didn't. And I just started crying like a baby, like so bad. And it was cool to see her like realize that, because I told you, like, you were like, I don't want to talk to my therapist today. And I'm like, sometimes they just give you a different perspective because your mind isn't working that well. You like you probably think the same way. It's like, I'm already thinking what she's going to say. Because I feel like we put ourselves in other people's thoughts all the time, and it was just like a good feeling. And she does that, and I'm glad that I finally found somebody. So hopefully you find somebody soon enough that works with you. But it's funny. Yeah, it is funny. So I've been doing good myself. How you been doing overall?
I've been doing okay. The past couple days have been more of like my low days. I stopped taking my medication about a month ago because my psychiatrist, like my therapist. Okay, so here's the thing. My therapist works.
Go off, queen. Go off.
Go off. My therapist she works in a place where she also has a psychiatrist, and they work together. And my therapist was like, I just don't think that your psychiatrist diagnosed you with the correct medication. And I was taking Abilify and gabapentin, and it was just not good. So I cut things off with my psychiatrist. I canceled my appointment. I stopped taking the medication about a month ago. And with my therapist, I told her, like, sorry, go ahead. No,
did you cancel with her? Did you call her and cancel? You just ghosted her? Because I ghosted the last people.
Well, I told her. Okay, so I told her that I like couldn't make the appointment and that I would reschedule it another time, but in reality, I'm just not going to reschedule, which sounds really bad, but like they probably,
I did the same shit. I did the same shit, and she called me for like weeks. I just never answered. I go, I don't know what she needs.
That's probably, and I don't know if she's going to call me back, but I'm like, whatever I was on was just not working. I've been on Prozac for years, really? And that's the only thing that I've known. And it did help for a long time. It helped with my anxiety and my eating disorder. And then over time it stopped working. And that's when my general practitioner was like, I think you need to see a psychiatrist and get this stuff figured out. And so that's when I found a psychiatrist. I started the medication, and it just like, it did good for like a week, and then after that it was like all downhill. I was tired during the day. I couldn't sleep at night. If I was tired and I was trying to go to sleep, I could not fall asleep. And then I just kept having like manic episodes, and it was just too much for me to even bear. Like, I can handle a lot of things, but I just felt like I was crawling out of my skin. Like, I needed to check in somewhere. I had thought about going to like a local mental health institute because I just couldn't sit with my body and be fine. And so like over time, I forgot where this was going, but over time, over the like past month, I'm like, without medication right now, I'm finally starting to feel or like see how my brain is on its own. And for the most part, I've been doing really well, but I want to note that I've also been making actual changes in my diet, drinking a lot of water, doing more exercise. And I've also been using grounding techniques that my therapist has given me. And so that's helped a lot. Whereas before I told myself, like, yeah, I'm doing everything that my doctor is saying to do, when in reality I was half-assing it. And so now I'm putting all of my full effort into it. And the past couple of days have been really, really low days for me. But I had to tell myself, like, this is only temporary. Your therapist told you that these days would come. And when they come, you just have to, ground yourself, think about the days that are coming. And it really helped. And today was I slept for like the majority of the day.
Love a good
But
sleep.
yeah, I like have not been getting good sleep. And so today I was like, you need to get a solid sleep in. So things have been going pretty well for the most part, other than the past couple days have been pretty low. But I'm starting to feel on the up now. So I'm not sure in the future. Thank you.
Yeah.
Applause, applause, applause. I'm gonna see my therapist. She just moved location. So I'm gonna see her in the next week or so. And she's the one that kind of told me, like, maybe give yourself a break from medication and see where your brain is at. So I'm just going to see, like, what's going on. If I need to go back on medication, I don't want to go back on what I was on. The Prozac worked for me for a good bit, but I don't know. But it's kind of up in the air.
You kind of have to be adamant sometimes.
Yeah.
You're like, I know what you think is right, but I'm telling you right now, like, if I keep on this, I'm gonna lose my mind. I was on Ativan for a bit, and that worked great. But then Ativan is like notorious for, if you take it so much, it stops working.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like have these like anxiety moments where I started going to the gym for jujitsu, and I was just so worried about making new friends. I'm like, one's if they don't like me, one's if I'm not good at this, one's if I throw up because I'm not healthy enough. And I would pop like 3 of those before I went in, and
Oh my gosh.
they made you kind of drowsy too. So I was just like, hey, what's up?
Let's fight. Let's
Yeah.
go home.
And then I was on Xanax for a little while, which
Mm-hmm.
if you take too much of that, woo-wee.
So I took a half a bar of Xanax one time recreationally. I had like smoked a blunt with it as well, and I ended up blacking out for like 14 hours. And I was like, I'm never taking Xanax again. That was the worst experience. And then my general practitioner prescribed me Xanax for anxiety, but she gave me the lowest dosage of it. And it actually like helped really well. But I was like, I'm not going to get it refilled because I know myself, and I think I'll abuse it if I have too much access to it. So I think I'm going to get it refilled again soon. But she gave me like whatever the minimal dosage of it is what she gave me. And it really helped like a lot. So I don't know, maybe we'll take it again in the future.
Yeah. I was on 0.5s for a bit, and those make you super drowsy.
Mm-hmm.
Those will get you to sleep well. And then when they put me on Adderall, they were like, no, you can't be on both. And I was like,
Why not?
I know. I was like, I need the sleeps. So the Adderall XR is like driving me nuts. Like, it works so well, but it keeps me up for too long. So again, my sleep isn't too well either. My spirit animal is that of a house cat, where I'll sleep for like 20 minutes and like a noise will scare me and I'll just like run away.
Yeah.
And so I have to talk to my guy soon, but he just went on vacation too. So I got a refill, and I was like, I need changes soon, but I'm dealing with it. I've also had like up and down days myself, and more up days than down days. But there's times I'm just like, just roll my eyes heavy. I don't care about anything. And it's funny that you said like you have to think about the good days ahead. I know that in my head, but at the time I go, I don't give a shit. Today is today. This hour is this hour. Who knows if I'm going to get to that? Not because I have like those types of thoughts, but just because I'm like, again, a piano can drop on my head tomorrow.
Yeah.
And you just got to live. You got to live in the moment. YOLO,
yeah.
YOLO.
And like, I don't know if you think about these things, but I think about like in the event that I get in a car accident or something, or I go under a bridge and something falls on top of me, like I'm thinking in the moment, like, how am I going to handle that? Is everything going to go slow motion, or am I just going to die like quickly and it's not going to hurt? Or I think about those things and I'm like, at least other people will know when I died, like it wasn't a slow death or whatever. Or like if I drove my car off a bridge, which I think about those things a lot. And I'm like, if I drove my car off of a bridge and then I'm in water, like I'm having a fucking hell of a time. Like that's not going to be good.
Yeah, that's a double whammy.
Yeah.
I get scared because I don't like pain. So I would be like so pissed if I like had to like suffer. But I think about like random ass shit, and it's like I'm driving and I'm eating like a candy bar. I'm like, when's if I just choked? What would I do? I'm like, do I just get out of the car and just wave my hands? But then like a car hits me like Final Destination, then
Oh
it
my
gets
God.
passed on to somebody else. Like, I don't need that. I don't need that on my conscience.
Yeah.
And I get super nervous like that. Even like on plane rides, I'm like, you know what? If this plane went down, I'd be fine. But in reality, I probably wouldn't be.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think too, like, cause usually when I go on a plane, I've been drinking before, like, cause I get nervous about flying. I didn't fly until I was 21. So I like, cause I remember 9/11, like it was yesterday. And I always think
Oh
like,
yeah.
this is the day. And so I'll have like a beer or two before. And then I'm like on the plane, like, yeah, if anything were to happen, like it'd be smooth. Like I wouldn't even care, or like I
Yeah.
would care, but like nothing, I wouldn't get hurt or whatever. I just like die
My
quickly.
biggest thought is like, what song would I put onto my headphones just going down? You know what I mean? It's like, do I put on Foo Fighters, There Goes My Heroes, and just like air guitar
Oh,
on the way down? You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I think about. People are probably like,
Yeah.
you two are fucking crazy. You know what I mean? There's, we got our crazies got to stick together, and it's
Yeah.
so comforting to talk to someone like you to realize you're in the same boat, because it is tough. And I think with my podcast, I've had a lot of people reach out to me and like talk about their problems, and
Yeah.
it is super nice, but I'm like afraid like I could get overbearing sometimes, because I don't want to say the wrong thing to somebody, and I have to be like self-conscious of like, this works for me, and
It
it
might
might
not
not
work
work
for
for you.
you.
Yeah, so I might just copy and
Yeah.
paste a PSA after every
Yeah.
conversation and just put it on there and be like,
Like these are
I'm
my thoughts.
I'm
This
not
is
liable if
me.
something happens. But it is
Yeah.
comforting to share. It's like misery loves company, even if it's like
Yeah.
we're laughing through it. And so I thank you for opening up to
Yeah.
my life and your
No,
life.
thank you. The life. No, I
Yes.
thank you too, because you've been super supportive and super helpful. And like you just like checking up if I like make a weird tweet or whatever and like, hey, like, how are you doing? Like, how are
Yeah.
things? So
Because I'm the same way, that people always say, it's like, oh, if you need anything, just reach out. But us are like, I'm not gonna reach out.
I'm not
Like,
gonna
I'm
do
sad if I call like,
that.
hey, I'm sad over nothing. Can you just help
Yeah.
me out? And I'll be like, what?
Cause
Like,
like what are they gonna do? You're like,
nothing, absolutely
yeah.
nothing. And it's sad because they do want to help, but like they don't know what to do or say. So I'll be
Yeah.
like,
And I
let's.
think oh sorry, go ahead.
No, you go, ladies
Um
10th.
that kind of links back into what we were talking about with our spouses. Because
Yeah,
I feel like
I wanted to go on that next. So yeah,
yeah.
perfect segue.
Um like with me and my husband, that was sort of 2016 was a really rough year for both of us. My mental health was at an all-time low. I was in beauty school, and I feel like anyone in beauty school, that's their year of like the worst time ever. Um, and we just had such a hard time. We broke up twice. It was because like my mental health was so bad, and we just could not learn how to help each other. And I think that he was trying to help me in ways that he thought was helping me, but in my mind, those ways weren't helping me.
Mhm.
And so we had to come to like this conclusion of like, we have to learn each other's love languages and help languages to be able to come to the same page, because people want to help you, but they think that what they're doing is the best way for you, when in reality, like you need certain things, but you can't express them to people, if that makes sense. Like when I'm lonely, I say like, oh, I'm so lonely. Like I do need attention. I crave attention and stuff, but like, I just don't know. Like, I don't want to be sitting with my friends. Like sometimes my friends will be like, well, I can come over and sit with you and we can just read books, or we can just sit in silence. And I'm like, I don't even have the mental capacity to sit with you in a room and not talk about anything. Like I don't have that in me to just be with another human. I just need to be in my loneliness or my feels right then. And so
Mhm.
people, they give you the attention that they think that you need, but it's not what you need. And that was something that me and my husband like had to come to like this like light with, of like, oh, I'm trying to help you, but it's not working you because you need something different and I'm not listening to you. And like, so you just tell me what you need, and now I'll finally, help you in that way, if that makes sense.
How long have you guys been together, and how long you guys been married?
So we've been together since 2014, and we've been married for almost 2 years. So we've been together for like almost 7 years, married for almost 2 years.
Awesome. Me and my
Yeah.
wife have been together for 12 years, which I just learned about on Facebook, and I was like, oh my God, what the fuck?
Nice.
So we've been married since 2015, so 6
Yeah.
years coming up in May.
Yeah.
shit, May 9th. Oh man, I almost struck out
You
there.
better remember.
I would have edited this part out in the episode.
I actually got our wedding anniversary wrong the other day. I said July 31st and it was July 21st because I was talking to someone that is getting married on the 30th. And I was like, oh, our anniversary is the 31st. And she was like, it's the 21st. Like, don't fucking forget that. And I was like, fuck. Like, and it was the day that my grandfather died, which is why we got married on that date because he was really important to me and stuff. And I was like, fuck. Like, oh, how could I forget
his death day. Yeah. So similar like instances with me and my wife. She saw me get bad, like I would just get frustrated, angry, and she wanted to fix me right away. And then it took a while for her to learn because she realized it wasn't working, and she took it upon herself to like read articles, and like she went on like Facebook support groups, which like pretty much made me cry because it was like you didn't I thought she like didn't care, and then I realized she cared because I was so manic and depressed. I was like, she doesn't give a fuck, like like we never broke up, and like obviously we wanted to kill each other at certain times, but I think I explained it like I'm like Cyclops, where like do you know X-Men?
Yeah.
Okay. Cyclops are like I would have the beam in front of me, and whoever got in that way when I was like fuck everything, you didn't get it. Like I always compared myself to like the Incredible Hulk, where like Bruce Banner just is like and I just freak out. Like I'm not smashing shit, but I'm like not even making sense. I'm like rah, rah, just fucking just losing my shit. So she lets me fizzle out. And that definitely helps me out. Sometimes I'll sucker her into like rubbing my back, and that helps me out. I'm like, yeah, give me a massage.
You need
like,
that. Yeah.
So she's really good. And then it was tough for me too because I was in such a bad place. And then her sister passed away from cystic fibrosis, so like she needed time to like mourn, and I wasn't ready to handle that, even though I tried my best. I would never fault her for feeling the way she did, but like I'm trying to help her as I'm trying to help myself. And it was just like different like things going through, but we're such at a good place now because she's so supportful and supportful. Is supportful a real word?
I wasn't gonna say anything,
dude,
but I don't think that's a word.
If anyone,
but it's fine.
If anyone that hasn't listened to my podcast that's listening to this now, if you listen to every episode, there's one word I can't pronounce, and it's unbelievable. Again, season D's get degrees.
Yeah.
But like we'll still like have our like problems like any other married couple. And there's like a thing that I hate is like saying yup. I don't like when people say yup. And I've told her that, but when I'm like mad spiteful, I'll hit her with that. She's like, you told me you hate that. Why are you doing that?
You're like, I know, I'm using it against you.
I'm being so manipulative and gonna drive you crazy.
Yeah.
But, sometimes I'll just pout and go upstairs and like go to bed if like something like that happens, so I don't take it out on her because I don't want to. And then like the next day I'm like, I'm sorry
I've done that. I think that's the same way. Yeah. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No. I was like, that was it. Your turn.
Oh, okay.
Volleyball.
I was waiting to see what she was like. So with Drew, like I feel like because he's gone about 90% of the time because he travels so much for work, and like when he's home, if I'm like in a mood, video games are his go-to, which he does for stress relief regardless. But if it ever comes to like a part or a point where we're like can't get on the same page because my mental health is like not good, we'll watch Netflix or something. Or if I'm like really, really like not being hostile, but just being like, I just can't be around anyone right now. Like I just need to be in my own, like I just need to be mad or I just need to be upset or whatever, then like video games are where he'll go to, and like, which is fine because I know like I wouldn't want to be around myself if I'm like that. So
yeah, she it's funny because I'm like the opposite. I'll stop playing video games and I'll get like pissed because like I used to be a Nintendo friendo, and all these new games are too complicated for me. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
And then she'll like she always like walks right in front of the TV and doesn't care. And I'm like, get the fuck out of the way about the score. Yeah. And she's like, shut the fuck up. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. So I think her thing is like she'll kind of just go watch her shows and get away. But we do have a lot of fun together. We play games. Rummy 500 gets pretty hot and heavy.
Yeah.
With some yelling at each other. We play two different ways, and she thinks I play the immoral way. Have you ever played Rummy 500?
No.
Dude, that is a game that will almost come to blows with It's like you got to match sets and cards. It's pretty easy once you learn it. It's a fun game
Yeah.
to play with a bunch of people. But I love being the bad guy in video and games because I make it exciting and people think I take games too seriously, which I might,
Yeah.
which is okay. But you need a guy like me in games, board games, everything, because I make it
Yeah.
exciting. I want to get into
Yeah.
it. So I'm the bad guy, which I live up, and I'm like, I don't care. I'll do anything to win. In video games, board games, I'm out for throats.
Yeah.
I'll do anything I can to win.
Yeah. I'm the same way with like online or like TV stuff where I'm like Jeopardy. Like when I'm in a mood, I'm like, we need to sit down and watch Jeopardy, or we need to watch like Wheel of Fortune or something. And then I'm like,
That's my wife.
Win.
She loves Wheel of Fortune. She like has to watch it every night, and I gotta like back up. And she's really good. That and Supermarket Sweep, she's awesome.
I love Supermarket Sweep so much. I want to be on a game show so bad.
We should all get on it. That'd be sick. Yes,
because you were on a game show, right?
Yeah, I was actually on 2 game shows. I was on this game show called Let's Ask America in like 2012, which no one knows about. It was played in like the Midwest. I didn't even see my episode. There's like one clip on YouTube. Yeah. So there's 4 people and it's like a Skype game, and I got eliminated first, and I was like, what the fuck? So there's like so there's an X number of years or months that you can be on another game show, because if like next week I was on another game show, they'd be like, this kid's a plant, like there's no way I'm doing it. So I was on Match Game with Alec Baldwin and 6 celebrities. Which was like Jason Alexander from Seinfeld, Fluffy, Gabriel Iglesias, Constance Zimmer, who I loved, and like Bubba Watson, who's a golfer. And I just ran through the whole game show and I won $25,000.
That's fucking insane.
Yeah. So if you watch season 3, episode 15, you'll see your boy.
And
that was like one of like the most out of body experiences I've ever had. I made sure to stay grounded. And I was like, dude, take this all in. Take this all in. So when I got there, you had to bring a bunch of different clothes, and they didn't like any of them. And I was like, fuck. So they gave me, so the shirt I'm wearing isn't even my shirt. And And then after I won, they're like, is that our shirt or yours? And I so wanted to be like, it's mine. But I was so nervous that they would like not give me the money, because like I didn't really read the contract. Like I don't even know if I'm allowed to talk about it. And I couldn't tell anybody. The only person I could tell was my wife, and the episode didn't get aired till like next August, and I filmed it in like June. So I'm like, people would be like, did you win? I'm like, I don't know. And then if they pushed me too far, I would just say I lost.
Yeah.
So that was a good surprise, but it was a good experience. And it was funny. I got a lot of signs when I was getting ready to play the game, and I was the last one to play. And me and Lindsay's unofficial wedding song, Shaka Khan Ain't Nobody, came on. And I go, this is a good sign. And then the girl I went up against had purple dyed hair and purple pants, and purple is the color for cystic fibrosis. So I felt like Lindsay's like sister was there with me, and I just had all these good feelings. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna go in there. I'm gonna fucking wreck shit.
Fucking win.
And I did. And the last question was blank code. What would you say for blank code?
What what comes to mind when I think of blank code?
Like the round before that, it was like Michelle Blank. Like who would you say for Michelle Blank for a top answer? Like first name.
Michelle Obama.
Yep, that was number 1. So
no way.
So they always tell you to think different answers. So Michelle Pfeiffer came to my head, and the celebrities gave me suggestions. I was like 100% Michelle Obama. But the last question I had to match exactly, and it was blank code. What would you say for blank code?
I have no idea.
So I initially thought bro code, and I go, no way Jason Alexander Costanza is thinking bro code. So then I thought about my job, and I work in like the police, like emergency level. I don't really talk about my job. So like in my head, I'm like, he's probably thinking about my job. I was like, Morse code. I was like, I've never done Morse code. And I said that, and we matched it. And then come to find out, when I like finally won, people were like, oh, I thought zip code and area code. I go, I am so glad I did not think of either of those words, because I would have went back and forth. I'm like, it's probably zip code, probably area code. So I never thought of that. And I just feel like it was like such a thing that was supposed to happen.
That's amazing.
It was a really good experience. But yeah, if we got on Supermarket Sweep, that would be awesome.
Hell yeah.
I would be the guy that would just run up and down the aisles. I'm like, what the fuck is it? just grabbing turkeys and like a bunch of like eye drops, because like those are low key kind of expensive. Lindsay always says that you need to go right for the turkeys and the medicine. I go, all right. So the person that recruited me for match game, I've been talking to her. I'm like, hey, let me know when that opens up. She's like, oh, I know the lady that kind of does it. So
that's amazing.
What would your team name be?
Okay, so this is really embarrassing, but it's the team name that we use for trivia, like everywhere that we go, and it's the Bukkakis. So like kind of like boo and then khakis, but it's pronounced
that's wicked. That's wicked funny. So my old manager, we went to trivia night all the time, and we were called Bukkake Solo. So that was our team. I always loved hearing it, but now I use the first name Dixon, Dixon, and then Cider, Cider. So Dixon Cider. So that's a really good one. That's a good. That's a good alter ego to have for trivia night if anyone wants to use that.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you definitely got to get on a game show. So if you ever apply for one, turn yourself up to an 11. Like be super random. You just got to be over the top. Like don't even think about it. Don't feel embarrassed. Just like throw yourself in there.
Just like fucking do it.
Be different when they ask you what you want to do with your money. Think of something crazy. Everyone says a trip. Everyone says bills. Everyone says student loans. Don't say that. Like say something nuts. Like, so I did a deep dive into that.
Yeah.
And then just, I was on there.
That's so fucking cool.
It is. Again, it's going to be a thing. And the game winning card he signed, and I still have it.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. So it was really cool. And I have the episode downloaded. It used to be on Hulu, but they took it down. I was like, damn, they should keep that shit up.
Yeah.
So you have to like buy it. And I think they took the episode down itself. So you have to buy like the whole season. I'm like, that's fucking whack.
Oh, that's dumb.
It's bootleg. It's wicked bootleg. But yeah, I feel like our spouse is like the same person. I feel like we would have a great double date.
Oh yeah, for sure. I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, because I want to make a trip up to Salem really bad. And I was like, oh, if we ever go up to Salem, like we should try to see like Tim and his wife, or like, get together or something. I think we'd have a really good time.
So you're a spooky bitch. You like all that stuff. You like the
I'm a spooky bitch. Yeah.
I love those shirts. It was what did it say? There was a shirt that was just like, so like, oh man, it was so tacky. It was like, went to Salem and I got stoned. You know what I mean? Like, cause you got stoned, blah, blah, blah. Stupid. Yeah. You'll get some stupid shirt. So we adopted our cat, like the town over from Salem. We went up there to Salem, and our cat just passed away. We had a 3-legged black cat, Shifty, we had to put down. So we went to the shelter, and I go, if there is a Persian cat in there, we're getting him. And lo and behold, there was a Persian cat. We saved him from a crazy cat lady that was like, I want Leo. And we're like, nope, we're getting that cat. And then they tricked us, I think. And they were like, well, he can't go home by himself because he's like special. He's like special needs a little bit, which he kind of is. So they made us take a second cat with them.
Of course.
I didn't want her. And she's like my best friend. She like lays all my clothes, lays all over me, lets me pick her up. Like she's legit like my best friend.
Yeah.
And then, also with pets, you have a German Shepherd too. Talk about your German.
I do. Yeah, my German Shepherd River, she turned 1 on Valentine's Day. She's my service dog, so she pretty much goes everywhere with me except for work. She could go to work with me, but right now she's in heat, so we're just kind of keeping her on the DL because we don't want her to get all frisky. But she's amazing. She has so much energy. She's really smart. She's really sneaky. She's really curious. She has so much energy all the time. We got her at about 12 weeks, and she's just grown so much. She's an angel. I don't know. I didn't grow up with pets really. Like we had a couple small dogs that were like my siblings, and like not a crazy experience, but this is my first actual experience, like having my own pet. So I didn't really know what I was signing up for, but I'm glad that I did. I can't imagine a life without her. So
yeah,
we have
a German Shepherd too. He failed as a police dog. And so his parents were like straight up show dogs. It was like Van Beater Schnitzel and stuff. Like he's a beautiful German Shepherd. So some woman adopted him in New Jersey, but then she needed to get rid of him because she had a kid and stuff. And then my friend, who was like a state trooper who like saves dogs, was like, anyone want this dog? And like she's kind of like part of like a big Facebook following and stuff. So I messaged her. She's like, I would rather give him to you than somebody else. So we got him. His name was originally Oakley, and we were like, that's a whack ass name. So his name's Charles Barkley. So he's just Charles. And
That's so cute.
the bad thing is we got him trained early on, but that was, we moved in 2017. The same day we moved in, we had a dog, which was super tough. And we were trying to train him. But then 2018, 2019 was when I was like super depressed, and my wife didn't really have much time. So like he is trained to the most part, but we could have got him a little bit better. He listens to us really well. He suckers my wife, but he listens to me like I'm the alpha dog in the house.
Yeah.
And I was always like, I would be super manic. I'm like, we got to get a second dog. And Lindsay was like, no, like with where your mental health is like, no way. So then one day I saw my second dog that we have now, Fanny, who was originally named Iris because she is completely blind. She has a missing eye and she has a zombie eye. And I go, Linz, we got to get this dog. I'm like, we have to get it. And we met her and we fell in love with her. And Charles would get not sad, but he'd get lonely. Like he would be like, they're very characteristic and like charisma and very emotional. Like he would like look out the window and be like,
that's like what River does.
Yeah. So like he didn't really have a lot of like interactions with other dogs, and like seemed like he was getting bored because, you know, German Shepherds need tasks, they need things to do.
Yeah.
So ever since we got her, we brought her over to the house with the two the foster families, and she was out there, and we were like, all right, Charles is very in your face. He's like the I'm not touching you kid at the park. Like he's super annoying. He bombs down the stairs, and we keep a collar on him, but we don't shock him. We buzz him so it vibrates.
We have that too. Yeah,
you kind of need that for a German Shepherd who's a $120, like an absolute shotgun. He has the loudest bark in the world. He bombed right down there, stopped right in front of her and just sniffed her, and then just walked away like nothing even happened. So then we got into the house and we got her. There's a picture I'll send you. It's like them two just like laying next to each other, and they're such a duo. And they fight outside. They play so much, and she puts him on his ass all the time because she's a pit bull.
I love that.
She's like a 45-year-old pit bull, and she don't take no shit. And we like, I don't think she's blind. She gets around the house so well. We have a half acre of land out back, and she knows where to go. And then I think I realized like it's all senses, so she can smell like branches, the grass, and like she's already bumped into stuff, so she knows where it is. But the inanimate objects she's going to run into because you can't smell them. So she'll donk her head off like the stairs or like into something. And you feel so bad, but she doesn't care. She just keeps on going.
An angel.
She really is. Goodness. She's the absolute best. And she was another like turning point in my life that like brought me like so much joy and absolutely love her. She's the best thing in the world.
I love that.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. What else? I feel like the best thing about this episode is we didn't really plan for it. We just made sure that we were gonna get to it. And I'm so glad this is like my first real like video interview. I did ones with the Fantasy Friendship kids. I don't know if you know them, but they're part of our group online. He's a really good dude. Me and him, you would like him. He has the same sense of humor as us.
Hell yeah.
We talk on the side, and that dude cracks me the fuck up. And so I did one with them. I don't think they recorded the video, but I went on there to talk about my game show in great detail because they did like a different interview with somebody with like kind of like a different type of story, which is like a cool subject. And I'm not hating on any other podcasts whatsoever because I don't like true crime. And I feel like our podcasts are definitely different because it's like mental health and not a lot of people do that. And Fantasy Friendship's cool because they're totally different. So unless like one of those true crimes or like the movie ones kind of have like a different like style to them, they'll stick out. But I feel bad for them because they're like trying to get followers, blah blah blah, and like I try to help them. Like I don't know, like I'm a people person. I've networked my whole life, so I force it on them, being like, hey, watch my episode and listen to this. So I kind of force my hand on them. And yours is pretty good. You got some good guests with your husband doing the top 5, the little Tony Hawk talk, and then your friend that you just had on now when you guys played the games together. It was super fun. You are entertaining, and I feel like your voice is very soothing.
Thank you. I've gotten that a lot for some reason. I don't know, like after the first episode came out, there were a few people that were like, oh my God, I didn't realize you had like such a good podcast voice. And then as episodes down the road like came out, they were like, or just like random people were like, your voice is so soothing and you have such a good like radio voice. And Yeah, it's so weird because like I always think of my voice as like really like masculine sounding and very like monotone and like scratchy.
No,
And
not at
so
all.
when I listen to myself back, I'm like, oh God, this is so irritating. But I've gotten a lot of good feedback on it. And like someone at the salon the other day was like, you have such a nice voice. Like it's so soothing to listen to you talk about stuff, like whatever. I can listen to you talk about anything. And I'm like, that's so nice. Thank you for saying that. Um, so yeah, when I was younger, I wanted to have my own radio show,
Same.
and like I would talk to myself in the shower, in the car. I would like make pretend conversations, and like so embarrassing. But I'm like, yeah, like I don't know.
Welcome
I
to
guess all of that.
WTIM 500. You're rocking with the T-Meister.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
So
Just dumb shit. I was on two different ones. I was actually on a college radio station with three of my buddies, and we were called Dollar on the String, and we'd like
oh
talk
hell yeah,
sports and stuff. And then I had
it's like
one of
that
my
commercial where he's like, "You got a dollar?"
yeah, that's what we did. He's like, yeah. And then I had a second one, my buddy Bill. It was Bill and Tim's Bogus podcast, and we had a lot of fun with that. He's a super funny guy. He's in a couple of commercials. He was in like a Subaru commercial.
Oh no
Yeah,
way.
he's a stud. Everyone loves him, and he does like improv, like the SNL type of stuff in Boston.
Yeah.
So he's really good. But another thing with your voice is you do not have a Southern accent for being from Georgia. You would think someone from like down in Georgia would have some sort
Yeah.
of drawl.
I get that a lot, especially at the club when I'm working. People are like, "Where are you from?" And I'm like, "I'm from Kennesaw, Georgia, like right outside Atlanta."
I know what I was going to ask you. For being from Georgia, what is like the least favorite song? Is it "The Devil Comes Down to Georgia"?
So I actually really love that song. I saw the Charlie Daniels Band live when I was in high school, and because I'm in or not, I'm not in orchestra anymore, but I played, you know, in orchestra and I play viola and stuff. It was really neat to see that live. So I actually like, really love that song. I don't know. I'm not a big like country person, like pop country person in
Same.
general. I like Tyler Childers, Chris Stapleton. I'll listen to I'll pretty much listen to anything. But it depends. I love the Dixie Chicks, Shania Twain, like more of the like childhood country people that I grew up with. I went to Nashville for my birthday a couple years ago, and I had this like box in my brain that like suddenly opened when we went to the bars, and I was like, I know all of these songs. And my husband was like, you don't like country, how do you know any of these songs? But I wouldn't say that living in Georgia, like the music, there's not really any music that bothers me. It's just the political climate of Georgia, of the South. We recently turned blue, so that was pretty cool. But other than that, living in the Bible Belt is a pretty difficult thing. So I wouldn't say I don't have a country accent. A lot of my family does. But yeah, when people ask me like, "Oh, you're from Georgia, but you don't sound like you're from Georgia," I'm like, well, I don't know. I just like, guess I just talk like normal. I guess I don't have. Sometimes when I'm like, if I get drunk or if I'm just joking around, then yeah, I can do like a fake country accent. But I don't know. The country accent is kind of annoying to me, so I don't know. It's weird.
I don't think I have a Boston accent. What do you think?
Oh my God.
It is super heavy, and my wife has like a heavier one, so it's super funny. Like we went on our honeymoon, like people like attracted to us, and it was super funny because people were like, "Oh, the Boston accent!" Like they would have like so many things, like "Park the car at Harvard Yard." I'm like, you can't park the car at Harvard Yard. So it is super funny, and people always like quote unquote make fun of it, but people are interested because it sounds stupid. I try not to do it. Just
No,
because
it's fun.
yeah, I don't really say it too much, but yeah, the song that irritates me up here and it's super popular is the Dropkick Murphys "Shipping Up to Boston." Anytime I hear that, is like super cringe. And then at the Red Sox game, they always play "Sweet Caroline," and I absolutely hate that song.
So that is a big song that they play at the club. And it's like when the DJ sees like the crowd that's at the club and is like, well, we're gonna play some like they play like Sweet Caroline, and then he'll dim the song down a little bit so he can get the crowd singing with it at the like bum 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 part. And I'm like,
dude, it's the absolute worst. Absolute worst.
That's annoying.
That is super annoying. I think we should probably wrap up. And I remember
Oh yeah.
I talked to you before this, um, what we're grateful for, but we can't do the regular, like what you're grateful for. I think we should be
Oh
like
yeah.
the ridiculous, like what are we grateful for that doesn't really make sense or really go with our theme.
Yeah.
So I think let's start with you. Like, let's do like a top five because I know you do a lot of those on your show. So you can go five. I'm gonna have no particular order.
Okay. Do you want to do like 5 and 5, 4 and 4, and then like swap off, or do you want me to just list my 5?
No, let's go back and forth and talk about it a little bit.
Okay. This is kind of dumb, but times when you can fool the spam caller, like when a spam caller calls you, and then you're like, you just go back and forth with them until they realize that they're onto you or you're onto them or whatever. That's one of my favorite things that I'm appreciative for.
That is a great one because I do the same thing. I get through the first caller to get like the guy that closes. You know what I mean? I'm like, get super excited. Then I'm like, hey, can you guys do me a favor? Like, what's that? I'm like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
And I get them so far that they're gonna get a sale. So yeah, that's a good one. That's a really good one.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go with Kesha. Kesha's top like 2 female artists, and I listened to a lot of her when I was like super depressed, which is like sounds so weird because I'm such a music head and I'm like a huge hip hop, like hardcore rap, like from their like late 90s, early 90s. So
right,
she really helped, and I know I'm just grateful for Kesha.
She's really uplifting, especially her song "Praying." Like, damn, the vocals on that are crazy.
People really do enjoy that, which is super funny.
Yeah. My number 4 is Crab Leg ASMR. I love ASMR in general, but I love watching people eat. Like, I love listening to them like cracking the crab legs open, or like even soap. Like when people are carving soap or just like biting into shit, I'm like, oh my god, yes, I love the sounds of that. It's just, and like slurping noises, cracking noises, like any ASMR, I'm like, oh my god, like I could listen to this for hours. It's so great.
I'm not gonna lie to you, that's really weird. But I respect it. There's a comedian, he did one of my intros, Dan Hall. He does Boston ASMR, and he like really like ups it. So I'll have to share that link with you. He's super funny. I'm gonna go with Q-tips.
Oh my god, yeah.
I love a good Q-tip air when you forget to do it for a little while, and it's just like it's heaven. And it's funny when I do my left ear, I start to gag, and I don't know why. Like it's connected, it's connected somehow, and I always like start coughing. And
that's so weird.
Yeah, it is super weird. But yeah, Q-tips are great. Super grateful for Q-tips.
Yeah. My husband loves, like, I have a drawer that I keep the Q-tips in, and he'll always be like, hey, can you go grab some Q-tips? And he'll like have me clean his ears for him. And I'm like, it's satisfying for me and it feels good for him. And I'm like, this is gross, but yeah, it's fun. It's fun. My third one is sand in my mouth. Like, I love nitty textures in my mouth. I know that's weird, but like when I go to the ocean or like a beach or whatever, like I purposely keep my mouth open in the water just in case like the salt water and like sand get in there. Or like when I eat grits or like cream of wheat, I make it super, super dry to where it's like almost like powdery still, because I like that like gritty texture like in my teeth. Cause I feel like when I grind it, like I can hear it in my brain, and it's just like fun for me. So
I'm going to say the same thing I just said for the last one. Super weird. And my wife especially hates that feeling of like sand. Or
really?
Yeah, that's not, I don't even like the beach really, but that is, I do not like sand at all. I don't even like it between my toes and nothing.
Oh, I love it.
But these are weird, grateful things, and I love it. This is going already.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with a back scratcher.
Oh yeah.
I have a retractable metal one, and like I can reach my back, but there's always spots that you can't really get. And then once you just fucking scratch the shit out of your skin off, like a layer of skin, I'm like,
yes.
Oh.
It's like the same thing with those like bath loofahs or the things that like the dry brushes, when you like get the spot and then all of your dead skin comes off and you're just like scrubbing and it hurts so bad. But then the hot water hits that raw spot and you're like, I am in hell and it's great.
Right.
That's what I think of. Yeah. Weird. Anyway. This one's a little bit risque. Well, not risque, but like it's fucking stupid.
Go for it.
When like men have to break their necks looking at you for some reason, like if I'm in the car, like eating a lollipop or something, or if I'm like at the club and I'm like drinking something, men are just like look at you and they're like, what are you doing with that object? Like, or if I'm like at a yellow light and men like slow down to like try to like say hello to you or something. But this is like a 2-in-1. I also love when I can be rude to men that are rude to me. Like when they say something like really bitchy and I'm like, do you have $5 to give me for that fucking stupid thought? Like you should pay me for what you just said. Like, I don't know. I love being rude to rude men and then like having men break their necks. It's just a fulfilling sensation for me that I'm like, I love that.
The old double take. Plus, dudes are ruthless. They don't give a shit.
They don't care. They don't care.
Stare at you, gawk.
Yeah.
Once they start gawking,
I'm like,
you know it's too much.
So.
My next one is just gonna be underbaked cookies, like medium rare cookies. I am a cookie monster, and like Lindsay, if she cooks like a batch of cookies, I'm like eating them like I'm a cartoon character, where like I don't eat and you just keep going down.
Oh my God. So the Otis Spunkmeyer cookies are what we had in high school. And they would be like the size of your face and the middle would be like nearly cooked and they would just break apart and melt. And like also Zaxby's does this sometimes where like they underbake their cookies and it's just like the softest. I don't like cookies hard. I like them really doughy. Same with brownies. So that's really fulfilling. So that's not weird at all.
A good chocolate chip cookie. Oh man, I'm in heaven. Absolute heaven.
It's the best. It's the best. My number one is probably really stupid, but it's Tim Curry's sex appeal in Rocky Horror Picture Show. Something about him in that movie. That's one of my favorite movies of all time, like my top 3. He just is so good, so good. And every time I watch that movie, I'm like, God, I wish I had that sex appeal. Like, I wish I looked like that and whatever he's wearing. And like, it's just such a good feeling for me to like watch that movie and be like, God, Tim Curry is like so sexy in this. So
I'm gonna be honest with you, I've never seen that movie. I've never
What do you mean?
Yeah, I've just never seen I haven't seen a lot of movies and I'm not ashamed to admit it anymore. Like when people be like, have you seen that movie? I'd be like, I haven't seen it in a while.
Oh my God.
I would just say that to get out of conversations. I'm like, yeah, I've never seen that.
Has your wife seen it?
I don't she must have. Like she's a big Tim Curry person, I think. She loves the movie Clue.
I was gonna say, have you seen Clue? Because that's one of my favorite movies too.
I've seen Clue. I haven't seen it in a while.
Yeah.
No, I have seen it.
Okay.
And then obviously Home Alone 2, he's great in. And then Tim Curry, dude, Tim Curry is legit.
He's amazing.
I feel okay. So my last one was tough. I was gonna go sweatpants or Chicago Tony V, but
Tony V.
We'll talk about him after this and we'll end. But I'm gonna go with buffalo chicken. I am a huge buffalo chicken guy. I actually have a buffalo chicken tattoo. It's the head of a buffalo and the body of a chicken on my side of my knee, on the side of my knee. And it's my favorite meal. I love a good buffalo chicken sub with bacon, pickles. It's buffalo
What about buffalo chicken dip, like for games and stuff?
Buffalo chicken dip I like. Buffalo chicken nachos I don't really like because I think it's too messy and it's too like rickety. Like I don't want to.
There's too many chips and not enough buffalo chicken.
And there's like tomatoes and stuff. I'm not like a huge fan of it all, but yeah, my wife is a fucking buffalo nacho fiend.
Yeah.
But let's close it out with Chicago Tony V. We're Chicago Tony V stands, and I mentioned him in our episode as well. I'm like, I think he's putting the papers in to adopt both of us.
Yeah,
But he's
going to be our dad.
How would you explain Chicago Tony V to people in his show?
Oh my God. So I think that his show, I love his little 7 a.m. Reddit things. He's very weird, just like a weird guy that talks about anything. Yeah. He's just like, there's no one else like him. And he just doesn't give a shit like what you think of him, like what he's talking about. He's just going to talk about it and doesn't care if you want to listen. But he's also really supportive. And like one thing that I noticed that he does when people are listening to him or come on his show or he talks to them, like he calls you by your first name and he'll say your first name like repeatedly. And it's like, it's like he's paying attention to you. Like he wants you to know like, hey, like I'm involved in like what's going on.
He is very, very like involved in the conversation, which I do love. I've noticed that too.
Yeah. He's all about the breadsticks, all about he's just he's really funny, and I think, and his like wit too, like everything about him. I'm like, I immediately, when he like got into the mix, I don't remember how he got into the mix of things. You probably like introduced me to him some way, but like he's just he's very easy to talk to, very easy to roll with, like joke with and stuff. And like, I don't know, I just feel like I want to go to Chicago and just like sit and have some pizza with him, or like have coffee with him, or like have a drink with him. Like, I hope that we really do a podcast, like get together, because I would love to meet I'd love to meet you. I'd love to meet Tony. I'd love to meet all these other people. But like, I feel like he would be the leader, like the boss.
Yeah, he's the podfather. I dubbed him the podfather. He's the big diesel of podcasting. He's definitely original. He has a great look. He's got great catchphrases that he could market.
Yes.
But he's still learning too. Like there's certain things where like he's like, oh, I'm an old guy, like blah, blah, blah. And like I helped him with the Reddit thing. He would always be like, oh, everyone tuned into my Reddit. And I like messaged him. I was like, hey, Tony, like you should just use your Reddit link so you can attach it. Because you gotta let people skip over things so they can get right to it. But he is super good. Yeah, I met him randomly. I feel like he replied to a tweet, or I replied to him looking up other people. And we were talking about like juggalos and stuff. And then like, he sent me one of his videos where like the juggalos attacked him. It was like one of his first videos. And he was making fun of like one of the guys he like helps edit or something. He came to like a lunch and he showed up.
It was like an ICP person.
Yeah, he showed up in like an ICP t-shirt. And so me and him have been chatting ever since. And I went on his show like probably like very early in my like podcasting career. And I was like, this guy's nuts. I was like, he's awesome. And he's like, hey, I'm Chicago Tony V with the Chicago Tony V shirt. He's like Dan Aykroyd. He's so like business acquired. He's got those shades. He's got the nice little hat. He's like, Dan Aykroyd is my favorite actor. I'm like, this guy is the best. He always cracks me up.
He's so. I found a little fedora type of thing at Target. It was in the kids section. It was like $1, and I was like, "No, I am Chicago Tony V." And like, I went on his show a couple of weeks ago. A week or two ago, and like, I get up early, try to listen to his show, and like, he was just so like, the interview was like flowed very well and stuff. He's just so nice, and I don't know. There's like no one else like him. It's so funny.
Super original. And I'm like, this guy has to become famous. I don't care what
he has to. We have to get him out there.
And he's very supportive too. Like he always like shouts people out on his show. And he has like legit fans on Reddit. Like Georgie Girl, and he plays like fucking what's that song?
Journey.
Dude. Yeah. He's hysterical. And his Tony's Pepperonis, and
I think we should make t-shirts, like Tony's pepperoni shirts, and then all show up or just like wear them and post pictures of them.
I'm gonna be him for Halloween, I think.
Oh man, I'll be Georgie Girl for Halloween. Yeah, I have to figure out what she looks like.
Chicago Timmy V. That'd be awesome. So shout outs to Chicago Tony V. What a great way to end this episode. He's gonna be very proud, very appreciative of that. So go out there after you listen to our podcast. Go listen to Chicago. You know what? Go listen to Chicago Tony V first, then listen to him. He is the best. But how about we say our farewells and tell people where they can find you.
So thank you for listening. I'm Haley from Podcast27. You can find me on Google Podcasts, Spotify, soon to be Apple, Podchaser. Is Podchaser a thing? I don't know. There's so many. Oh my God. I'll have to go on my Spotify and figure out. There's like 6, mostly Spotify. I would just say that. You can find me on those things. Hopefully soon to be YouTube. I got to figure that out. So
we'll put this on yours. I am Tim McCarthy with 20 Tim Minutes, 20-minute podcast. You can follow me on Spotify, iTunes, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. You can find us easy. If you're already listening to this, you found us. So that is great. And this is perfect timing because my laptop is at 10%. So this is perfect. But I think that the podcast 2027 should be this episode, of podcast 2720, probably 2720.
I think 2720 sounds better.
It sounds way better. 2027 sounds like a year. But Haley, thank you so much for rocking this with me.
Hell yeah.
We did this very well, and we knocked it out of the park. What a tag team. Brother and sister of bipolar. It is the absolute best. But thank you so much. You take care and have a good one.
Yeah. Great.
Bye.